Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we're going to focus on something really exciting, building a practical, totally safe wellness toolkit that you can literally use anywhere, starting right this very minute. We're going to dive into the fascinating science of how our bodies find calm, and more importantly, how you can actually take control of that whole process.
So you might be wondering, can simple, everyday actions actually relieve chronic stress? Well, it's exactly the kind of question we ask when we're trying to optimize our health, right? Like, can small, super accessible daily routines really help us manage our stress levels, and by doing so, indirectly help out with larger chronic conditions? The science says yes, absolutely. And it all comes down to one very specific biological pathway.
Section 1. Unlocking the vagus nerve. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, this right here is the absolute core biological mechanism we'll be targeting throughout this explainer. To really understand the vagus nerve, we've got to understand what it actually controls, which is the parasympathetic system. Think of this as your body's rest and digest activity. It's totally fascinating because it essentially acts as the antidote to our crazy modern high-stress lives. You know how stress triggers that fight-or-flight mode? Well, stimulating the vagus nerve actively hits the brakes and turns on this rest and digest response instead. This is exactly what we want to dial up to bring our bodies back to a baseline of peace.
But why does this all matter in the real world? Because intentionally stimulating the vagus nerve supports really deep relaxation, and that can actually provide indirect relief for folks living with conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, simply by reducing overall systemic stress. It makes sense, right? When you actively lower your stress levels, you're taking a massive burden off your immune system and your body as a whole. It's just a really powerful indirect way to support your physical health.
Moving right along to Section 2, the power of breath.
Your breath is quite possibly the most direct line of communication you have with your nervous system. Let's physically slow down for a second here. First, you just inhale deeply through your nose for a count of about 4 seconds. Next, and honestly this is the most crucial part, you exhale slowly, stretching it out to take 6 to 8 seconds. That extended, super slow exhale, that is exactly what signals safety to your brain. Just practice that simple rhythm twice a day.
And we're talking 5 to 10 minutes here. That is literally all the time you need to spend on this breathing practice to start seeing the biological benefits. It's a ridiculously low time commitment for what is essentially a profound physiological reset.
All right, Section 3, finding your voice.
This next technique is super cool because it involves using our own vocal cords to kind of hack our nervous system through a physical reality known as the vibration connection. So the vagus nerve literally has branches that run right down through your throat. When you create a physical sensation of vibration, like when you're humming your favorite song or chanting a nice deep om, that internal vibration acts as a direct physical trigger that activates those nerve branches. You're basically giving your nervous system a massage from the inside out.
And honestly, this just shows how beautifully accessible these tools really are. Much like the breathing exercises we just talked about, a mere 5 to 10 minutes a day of humming or chanting is literally all it takes to engage those throat branches of the vagus nerve.
Up next, Section 4, the cold water reset. Now this technique relies on a quick external temperature change, 20 to 30 seconds. Notice I didn't say minutes. All you have to do is splash some cool water on your face or apply a cool compress. In literally less than half a minute, you trigger this natural reflex that immediately dials up your vagal tone, which is basically the overall strength and health of your vagus nerve's response. It's like a quick reboot for your brain. But I do need to make a really important distinction here. The recommendation is strictly for cool water or a cool compress. We're contrasting that with a very specific caution. Definitely avoid ice water if it makes you feel unwell or panicky. The goal here is a gentle, refreshing nervous system reset, not to shock your system or make yourself miserable. Just stick to cool water for the best results, all right?
And that brings us to Section 5, the mind and body connection.
This is where we bring all of these concepts together, bridging internal mindfulness with physical movement for complete, holistic relaxation. First up is pure mental focus. Try to dedicate just 10 to 20 minutes daily to focusing on your breathing or maybe doing a guided meditation. By just sitting quietly and turning your attention inward for this short little block of time, you directly increase that critical rest and digest activity we defined back at the very beginning of this explainer.
Finally, we can combine that mental focus with actual physical movement through some really gentle yoga poses like the cat-cow, child's pose, or the cobra. But here is the absolute critical key to making this work for the vagus nerve. These poses absolutely must be combined with slow, controlled breathing if you want them to be effective. It's that marriage of the gentle physical stretch with that long, slow exhale we talked about that truly maximizes the body's relaxation response.
So we've built an incredible, totally science-backed toolkit today, and I want to leave you with one final thought and a question. Which of these simple techniques are you actually going to try today for your own relief? Is it going to be the 4-second inhale, maybe a 20-second cool splash on your face, or hey, maybe just 5 minutes of humming in the car? You've got the tools, you have the structure, and now you have the knowledge. So pick one and start unlocking your own relaxation today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.